Hey guys, what's going on? Hermdo back with you, and we got Bill Burr on the Breakfast Club. Got some timestamps set up. We're going to get into this kind of stuff here. Bill talks a little bit about media sensationalism. Um, Jon Stewart gets brought up as well, and they kind of talk about how news and politics is kind of entertainment nowadays. But let's get into it. Let's check it out.
Laugh and forget about the your work week or whatever. So I don't put any sort of importance on anything that I'm doing, but other people try to, I guess.
I wonder whose fault that is, though. Like, was there a particular comedian? Because, George Carlin always kept people, to me, grounded in reality. And then what Jon Stewart did, and still does, on The Daily Show, he keeps people grounded in reality, but then he reports the news. So sometimes they want you to make the facts funny, because the news isn't doing it. Like, the news
I stopped watching the news at least 10 years ago.
Damn.
I just couldn't do it. There was just no hope. Mm-hmm. You just walk around. I always say you can tell people that watch 24-hour news. They show up and their eyebrows are up. Did you see what happened? I mean, I just did Good Morning America. Just the weather alone, the way they were showing all of this severe weather, and nobody is addressing global warming and how the hell and what are we going to do about this? Yeah. And I think
Bill Burr brings up global warming. He's obviously a communist. Obviously. Damn it, Bill, you were our top soldier in the war against woke. Now we are truly lost.
I really think the LA fires, all that corporations see, like, oh wow, we got great ratings watching all these people lose their houses. Mm-hmm. So let's so then I was like watching the weather on Good Morning America being like, is it really this bad? Or are they trying to make it seem this bad so they can get some more of those LA fire
Yeah, this is I don't know how much I could really add to something Bill Burr says, but this is very true with everything. You really do. Things are bad right now. There's a lot of bad things going on. But the sensationalism and I'm going to say it again, fear-mongering, and a lot of hyperbole out there. People really want you to feel hopeless. People really want you to feel angry. There's this whole cottage industry of people that exist, and they're both on the left and the right. Every political stripe do this kind of shit, but they want you to feel angry and helpless and see them as your savior only by supporting this one person, this one figure. Can we hope to save America or end racism or save the environment or whatnot? A lot of grifters out there pulling this kind of shit. A lot of media, big time media, does this kind of shit too, mostly in an attempt to get ratings. Everything feels like a grift these days. Everything, your emotions feel manipulated. But let's get back into more of what Bill's saying.
Ratings or whatever. So
you gotta sensationalize in news. That's your goal when you know how to sensationalize.
Yeah, they're just trying to make money. So I don't know. It's a weird time.
And how do you stay away from politics when I feel like politics is just funny nowadays?
It's pop culture now.
Everything is
everywhere.
Okay, I'm going to answer this for Bill. You don't. But yeah, politics is entertainment. That all changed with Trump. We don't get any more boring stuff suit guys. No more decorum, no more respectability. That all went out the window with Trump. And yeah, people were joking around. You could say maybe during the Bush years, Bush was such a stuttering, bumbling doofus. It was funny to report on him. Back in the day, The Daily Show was always ripping on him. All these liberal news outlets. Back when it was kind of cool to, be a liberal. But, these days, it's hard not to, because you just want to joke around about it. But the second you talk about it, it's I was an apolitical channel for so long, but the second you talk about it, it's you're making a stance on it, people just don't understand. And I can understand why comedians want to stay away from that. But let's see what Bill has to say about this.
Everything you say has to do with political stuff. Not everything, but a lot of stuff you say has to do with political stuff. You were trending all morning this morning. Did you know that? On Twitter?
Yeah, but I guarantee you whatever they were saying, I was saying I wasn't. What was it about?
It was the Elon Musk Nazi thing, and how the media is scared and won't say what they need to say.
Well, it's ridiculous. There was a time, post Me Too and all that, speaking to power, all of that shit that was happening.
Check the power.
Is it cool to dunk on Me Too now? Bill Burr says it is. Okay, well, we can do it now.
Remember when something was supposed to happen for you guys and it didn't because it was all of us just talking? I mean, that's what ended up happening.
No, that's true.
That's what ended up happening.
A lot of white people making a lot of promises that never happened.
Oh, was it during the Black Squares time or something?
I just remember there was a time that you would be on stage going like, "Can I do this Caitlyn Jenner joke?" Or am I gonna get canceled? Like, it was really this crazy time.
Nah,
He had this bit. He had this saying. I'm not 100% sure of the context, but Bill was talking about like telling jokes and saying like, you don't know what to say. You don't know what's gonna get you in trouble. What's gonna get you canceled. And you get to a certain age, and you're just like, screw it, say it, and just see what happens. And I was at that stage for a while myself. I feel like I kind of still am, but there's. I mean, I don't know. I mean, but Bill's right. You got to be able to speak your opinion at some point and not have to like censor yourself. You got to be careful what you say, sure, but sometimes shit just needs to be said, and you really can't worry about who it offends. Not to sound like a 2015 anti-SJW, but not one of these free speech guys that is a total hypocrite. But yeah, I mean, but Bill has some good takes on this kind of stuff.
The one transgender you could always make jokes about, and nobody would get mad.
I don't know. I kind of did one on Conan, and then those guys at Huffington Post tried to get something going. So there was that period, and then like a few years later, this guy Sieg Heil twice.
Two of them.
Once in the front, if you missed it in the back, and it's just like he still has a job. That guy still has a job. I don't understand those guys.
Well, there is consequences for that kind of stuff. Not to like. I'm not trying to like debate Bill Burr or like respond, but just like, yeah, I mean, his Tesla stock. I talked about this in my previous videos, but there is consequences for this kind of shit. Yeah, Elon. I don't know I don't know like a realistic strategy to remove him from power unless Trump gets annoyed with him and boots him out of the White House. But his company has lost half of its value since he pulled that kind of shit. But like, it will be nice to fire that fucking guy. Don't get me wrong, but. There are consequences. Free speech isn't consequence-free speech, and oh, brother, unless you're protesting against Israel. But anyways,
guys, and this isn't politically. It's just like I don't understand why they're so upset with this country. It's like you're billionaires. I think it's working for you. Like, why are you going and telling everybody, justify what you do? It's like fucking justify what you do. That piece of shit car that you're making that the government financed. No.
But you know what you just said? You said that Elon still has a job. He's the richest man in the world. There's nothing they can do to him. And that's all he proved. There's nothing anybody can do to him by throwing up when he did that. That's
a question, some days when I'm thinking about like how to get out of this current situation, because nobody's going to check this guy. What kind of, are we just going to have to sit back and take this shit for like another 4 years and possibly longer? If he's, if Elon wants to be butt buddies with JD Vance or whatever, are we just going to sit back and take this kind of shit? Not that I'm trying to like radicalize people, but just like the thought of putting up with this until 2028, that bothers me. But it's like, what can you really do? How do you really upset power in this country? That's a question you got to ask yourself. But Bill goes on. He has some critiques of billionaires here. And talks about capitalism as well.
For you this morning.
If you are in this business, the last thing you want to do is read comments on the internet.
I tell her that every fucking day.
Whenever a person is trending, I have to go see why. Like, it's just in my world of things.
She lives in the comments.
Oh.
This is not the comments. This is like you were trending across the U.S. on Twitter, so I clicked to see why because I knew you were coming today, and then I saw the comment that you made, which I saw the day before, but people just started...
common sense comment that we shouldn't have a Nazi?
And people just started yelling about it today. So that's why you were trending.
Just think about that. All you said
I like when people go, he wasn't Sieg Heiling.
What was it?
He was calling illegal motion. Two politicians were moving at the same time.
You said you feel like billionaires are like rabid dogs who deserve to be put down.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn. Why do you feel that way?
It's a podcast. I'm joking. I'm exaggerating.
You can't do that.
You just say anything, Bill?
Yes, you can, and I did it, and it's fine. You know what I hate? I hate when somebody shows a clip from a movie or a sketch and be like, "Oh, you couldn't do that today." It's like you just did it.
That's true.
And we all watched it, and everything was fine. So
yeah, that's the thing. Fuck Elon Musk. Look, I'm not gonna. I gotta be careful because I'm on YouTube and shit, but. It's just like I see like I'm taking like the temperature of the country and looking at like the reactions to this kind of thing and to the reactions to Musk and kind of stuff, you know, but the way they're cracking down on this kind of crap, the kind of things they're doing, the way Trump wants to make it like illegal to like boycott Tesla. He's talking about how all these news outlets are just illegally criticizing him and shit like that. It's just like, if somebody doesn't step in, if there's no regulation on this kind of shit, then what's the fucking point? And people are going to say off the wall shit. Look at Twitter, look at Reddit. People are jazzed up about this fucking guy. They're getting radicalized against Elon Musk. And quite frankly, a few jokes, Bill Burr, if you're offended by this kind of shit, all the free speech douchebags, you just know it. Not to sound like one of some jerk here, but at the same time, it's just like, all the guys that are worried about free speech, they're worried about their ability to like mock like minorities and like gay people and stuff. But it's like, the second somebody critiques like Elon Musk, look at all these like free speech guys flip out about that shit. All these dick riders on Twitter, all these losers just so scared. Look, we still talked about Ben Shapiro a couple days ago, just like jumping in front of the bullets for Elon Musk. Why defend these fucking people? But yeah, Elon Musk should be held to fucking account. I want his ass torn out of that fucking White House. I want him kicked in the balls. I want his companies to go bankrupt. Fuck this guy. Fuck this guy. It's just, at a certain point, it's just like, you were worried for so long that, well, something you said would make you sound right-wing or racist. But now I'm just like, do I have to be worried that something I say when I critique Trump is going to be seen as woke? Will I be canceled by the right now? Is that a thing now? Now that the right is back in power, if I'm not kissing sufficient ass, if I'm not complimentary enough towards the people in charge now that the power has, you know, the regime has changed, now against this regime, am I going to be called a woke communist for saying this kind of shit? That's the thing. That's the thing. It's really obnoxious.
Like
So you don't really feel like billionaires are rabid dogs who should be put down?
I think that they should be regulated.
Yeah.
Capitalism is great, but unregulated capitalism, I don't think the direction this is going in. Where now these guys, the thing is they're all competing with each other. They don't hang out with regular people. They just hang out with other billionaires. So when somebody has an infinity pool overlooking an infinity pool, then that's what they want. And, you know, I think they just go around looking at their net worth, and they're trying to be like the first trillionaire. But I don't know. I don't understand that. But this whole like heartless way that they treat workers,
I agree,
it's got to stop.
Yeah, he's right. He's right about that kind of stuff. And you see, it's not just among the billionaires. There's a lot of other people who are like apologists for the regime. And you see this with like wealthy people in general. Not all wealthy people do this kind of stuff. There's plenty of rich people that are aware of how shitty things are. And, you know, they do try to be somewhat active about it and, you know, support these, you know, activists and whatnot. But there's a lot of rich people that just are totally disconnected, boomers. And there's a lot of other people that just don't seem to get it. It's just like their lives are good. They had success. I'm not saying they didn't work hard for it, but at the same time, it's just like they made it. A lot of people work their asses off and get jack shit out of it. Hello. But, you know, it's just frustrating. Like, so many people are just like so disconnected with what people want. And a lot of leftists, a lot of people on the left, I mean, maybe not leftists necessarily. I got to be careful here. But a lot of liberals and stuff on the left, a lot of people on the left, they were happy with Biden and they couldn't contend with the fact, they couldn't accept the fact that, hey, things are bad. People are feeling disenfranchised and disillusioned with Biden. There's an actual, like, rejection of his policies now. Whether or not you think that was fair, it doesn't matter. People felt the way they felt. And it wound up in a disastrous loss in November. So you got to understand, when people are telling you, when like the lower groups, not lower groups, but like when people in kind of the lower economic status are telling you things are rough, even like middle class people, you know, when like regular people you talk to every day, people you work with, when everyone's talking about how broke and miserable they are, you got to start paying attention to that. When you see this shit all over YouTube, everything, I know I'm rambling here, but at the same time, it's like, when people are telling you this shit, you gotta listen to them. You can't just cover your ears and pretend, oh, you're just stupid for not being successful. I'm always calling out the right for doing that shit, but the left does that shit too. But let's get into it. Actually, let's move on. Oh no, he had some more things to say here. Let's watch a little bit more of this clip.
It has to stop. And I do find it funny, though, that it's nerds that are ruining the world, because they used to always go after like frat boys and stuff, and it's like, well, now look at it. It's all of these I don't know. They're all getting like hair plugs, and they get like face. I don't understand.
Look at Zuckerberg.
They take jujitsu and they eat raw almonds.
They got the girlfriends now too. They outside. Elon Musk. Everybody.
Oh my God! Come on.
The people, they're outside now. People are following them more. They're making them celebrities. That's what's happening.
Yes.
Like that's what it is. That's what I mean by they're outside. People are just
all right.
Look at the way like Mark Zuckerberg changed his image, or tried to. A lot of people think he's a douchebag still. Some people buy into it, of course, but he's trying to be a cool guy, wearing a gold chain, wearing his bling, wearing a $1 million watch, growing out his Jufro, trying to be all cool, growing like a beard and shit, cozying up to Trump and all this shit, trying to be like a cool, like avant-garde, like anti kind of establishment figure or whatever. Like, hey, I'm cool now, guys, I'm cool. But it's all a facade. It's all bullshit. And I see a lot of other billionaire douchebags do this shit too. But let's move on a little bit. Let's, Bill Burr critiques capitalism, advocates, I think he talks more about workers here.
You can't raise them right, causes more problems. I don't know.
So you like compassionate capitalism?
Yeah. I have no problem with people running stuff. I have no problem with people making a ton of money. But like, when
is there such a thing as compassionate capitalism? I don't know. That's a debate for another day.
Your workers are wearing adult diapers because they don't have time to go to the bathroom.
Damn.
As they're driving your truck across the country. Like, yeah, that's what I've go. All right, maybe you're taking too much of the pie. That's all. So, I don't know. People are going to cut this shit up and they're going to fucking throw it. You're going to read it and they're going to say some more stuff. I feel it feels like common sense.
But you're not afraid to talk, though. That's what I like about you, Bill. You go on these podcasts, you speak your mind. You get on stage, you speak your mind. And you don't care about what, happens after the fact.
Well, I'm not being malicious.
That's right.
Like, no, if I said something and I was in a bad mood and it was really like I meant it in a bad way, which I've done that, then I will apologize. But, what am I saying here right now? You should pay your workers enough money that they can feel that they can feed and clothe their family.
That's common sense.
I don't think that's too controversial.
I remember back in the day, like I would get, for some reason, like I would get mad at the thought of like McDonald's workers getting paid a fair wage. I'm like, that kind of job, that's only for college kids. That's only for high school kids. Adults shouldn't be working there. Like I was mad at people in poverty forced to work at these low wage jobs. Why? I don't know why. That was when I was still kind of conservative. But at the same time, I don't understand like why that upset people. It upset me. I don't understand why. Like I thought about like taxing billionaires more. That upset me. I was like, why should successful people pay for poor people? And that thought, a lot of people are still trapped in that mindset. Like the idea, like Bernie's been talking about this forever, but it's just like, hey, I mean, in America, the richest country in the world, you should be able to get by working 40 hours a week at a job, at least. Some people work a lot more than that and get barely anything for it. And that's ridiculous. But that was like a far left talking point for the longest time, just like fair compensation, raising workers' wages, taxing billionaire more. That was like radically out there. Now more people are starting to adopt that. And you see some like right-wing guys like still in that mood, which is like they get upset thinking about that kind of shit, thinking like, I don't know why. I just don't understand it. Like, why do you want to cover for like billionaires and like rich people so much? People that don't give a fuck about you. I don't get that. Like Mark Zuckerberg, Donald Trump wouldn't piss on you if you were on fire. Why are we doing this?
He's a woke capitalist, anti-woke capitalist, whatever the hell they called that Luigi kid.
Oh yeah, I saw when you were doing the sneaker thing. You talked about that too. That was super viral.
She lives online, if you haven't realized.
Yeah.
I mean, but I like.
You know something? I hate to tell you how few people it takes to comment on one thing to make it go viral.
No, but what you were saying, I think people took it and like because people were having a conversation at the time of like, is it right or wrong to say free Luigi? So they just threw that into the conversation. But I think a lot of
that's
stuff
what people like doing.
Yeah, I think.
Should we blah blah blah? They never commit.
But that's what I was going to say.
And then people go, no, we should not. Like they just get all these mouth breathers to start commenting.
But that's the problem with the news. Like these pundits will be on like CNN, MSNBC. They'll ask answers. They'll be like, did Elon Musk throw up a Hail Hitler?
Yeah, but those are not. That's not news. That's not. They used to have rules. They said when I remember they had rules of 7. No one guy could own any combination of 7 radio stations, newspapers, magazines in one market because you could control public opinion. So now you got 2 guys that basically own all the news. So I don't know why you would watch it. I mean, I if I was running shit, I would shut down CNN.
That's the thing. I mean, I'm going to get into Bill's point, but just the way media, I mean, look at the media like the Jeff B. It's just a big media monopoly. All these big corporations owning all these media networks. It's a problem. But I use a lot of big time, like magazines and outlets to get news from, to read stuff from, because some of the reporting is still good. That's the thing, though. There's still good reporting out there. I know people have really shitty opinions about journalists these days and stuff like that, but it's just like, are you so paranoid you're not going to trust people to tell you the news? I mean, there's only... You want to trust like Alex Jones or like Russell Brand or like one of these other right-wing cranks, some nut job on Rumble to tell you about fluoride in the tap water or chemtrails or George Soros making people trans or whatever the fuck. I mean, that's where you get your news from, like conspiracy TikToks and shit. You got to live in reality a little bit, man. But also, we should also hold big media companies like CNN and MSNBC and all this stuff accountable. I mean... We need to expect a higher level of integrity from these companies. That's not a problem at all. And I don't want to dismiss offhand all the good reporting that goes out there. And I support independent journalists and stuff like that. Guys like Ken Klippenstein who go out there and they talk about these issues and they have their own newsletters and stuff and they try to build like their own little communities talking about this kind of stuff. That's what we need more of. Honestly, less corporate news, less pre-approved opinions and stuff like that, And that's one thing Trump, like, dismantled. Like, he inspired a massive backlash against corporate media that no other figure really has, like, in modern history. I mean, people don't trust anything like CNN or MSNBC or any of these outlets, or like Huffington Post and whatnot. Nobody trusts anything those people say anymore. It's all, and a lot of it is agendas and bullshit. It's a really complex topic. I'm not, maybe I don't have the best opinion on it, but still, we need better sources for information here. Hey, Ground News, please sponsor me.
Fox News, and you would no longer be able to comment on stuff on the internet, and then I would just leave it at that, and let bring it down to a simmer, and then maybe be like, all right, talk to people. How do you want to live? What works for you? And try to I don't know.
How would we get on
shit
news?
Needs to calm down, and you don't need people stirring stuff up because one of the great things about this job is I go to all 50 states for the most part, red and blue, and people are cool. But you watch these leaders and they're like, "Oh my God, this is happening, that's happening." Mm-hmm. They just got everybody all scared. So I don't know.
How do you get news?
You don't need everybody's walking around talking about it.
Yeah. You made some good points there. Definitely. But he starts talking about debate a little bit here, like how we can have like healthy debates. And that's something I'm a big proponent of, going forward, where everything's so radical nowadays and everything's so reactionary. People just react to stuff. You're just like conditioned to just react to stuff these days. And it's really a big problem. People don't just sit and think about news they see anymore, especially if it contradicts their pre-held knowledge. They have all this cognitive dissonance when they find new information, and it's really not good. It's a very toxic, shitty thing, But let's get into what he says here.
Argue with somebody, just, show and prove, basically.
Are you buying this?
I don't buy nothing from over there. I don't even shop over there.
Is he just like walking around in some linen robe and just walking his way through the... So you're just telling me you just sit in the pocket the whole time, and all of her jujitsu doesn't work on you?
No, but here's my thing. I'm not trying to.
You're an argumentative guy.
I like the debate. I like a healthy debate.
I like how you just clarified that. I like the debate.
I think a healthy debate is good for all parties, for everybody, for your friends, for your wife, everything.
I'm not talking about debating. I'm talking about arguing.
Nah, I don't
just
like to argue.
Pointless.
Nah. I don't do that. I refuse with anybody. I disconnect.
I aspire to get there.
Well, you said in the special
the amount of shit, if you have at the end of my life of dumb shit that I spent, sports arguments, oh my God, that's gonna be a third of my life.
But those are different though. Sports and hip hop, those are actually fun. I think those are good for your heart, to be honest with you. Keep your blood flowing.
You don't get into a fight over it, right?
No, but I lost a whole night in Vegas one night when some younger kid I was hanging out with tried to tell me that Mayweather, if he fought in the 80s, would have gone undefeated against Hagler, Hearns, Durand.
People, when I first started this channel, I was a sports channel. I covered Detroit area sports for a few months before I got sick and tired of it. But sports culture is extremely toxic. Talking about it is fun, but I've seen people get so fucking angry over that shit. Maybe toxic isn't the right word. It's fun to talk about this kind of stuff with your buddies, guys at the bar sitting down, you're watching football games, and they're like, yeah, it's cool. But some people, they can't handle this shit. They get way too into it. They get way into the sports betting, way into all this, like the fantasy football and shit. I've seen people yelling and screaming over that kind of shit. It's just a guy thing. It's an aspect of toxic male culture. But no, I mean, in all seriousness, you can debate about like any of this shit. Anything could be debated. But you should have, like, talking about sports and cars and music, anything can get contentious. Anything can get angry. I was in a car forum back when I was in high school, and people would get really mad, like talking about, oh, the Dodge Charger is better than the Mitsubishi Eclipse and stupid shit like that. But there's always an argument they had about anything. But just like some days, just you can find a good group of people, and discuss this kind of stuff. So like talk about cars you like, talk about sports teams you like, athletes you like, and stuff like that. There is, but every amount of debate in this like culture of ours has some level of anger and like just nuttiness to it. That's the thing. But you just like, I just want to fuck around. When I go to the bar, I want to drink a couple beers, eat some wings, and just watch the Tigers lose. I don't want to get into some big debate with this shit. And some days, like, some guy will start talking my ear off about sports. I'm just like, yeah, okay. Go. Oh, yeah, okay. But I don't want to talk about it all the time, but I don't know. I'm just rambling here, but at the same time, it's just like, things can be fun to talk about. If we get to the point where we actually enjoy talking about politics again and not be, like, divisive about it. But in these times, it's so, like, dire and people are freaking out. I don't want to say that they don't have a good reason to freak out. These are freaky times to live in. But people need distractions, and we need to stop letting like toxic debate culture pervade everything. That's basically what I'm trying to say in a rambling, incoherent way. But let's get into Bill talking about personal responsibility.
Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
I would probably cringe at some of the shit that I said.
Because I've heard comedians say, like, oh,
this is what I was trying to say earlier. I'll clarify one thing, but it's just like, we should have things we can talk about amongst each other that aren't specifically about politics. We should be interested in other things. We should be able to discuss things without getting angry. But like video games or art or whatever, but those are contentious too. But people need community. And the fact that some communities feel it necessary to fight with other communities or, insult each other and threaten each other over this shit, it's bad. It's bad. And I think it's bad for our culture. We should have distractions from politics, not drag politics into literally everything we enjoy. That's a serious problem in modern day America. But let's get into what Bill's saying. Sorry for rambling.
I'm a big proponent of therapy, but I've heard a lot of comedians say, I'll never go to therapy because, I need this trauma. Like, do you?
Yeah. Well,
what gets you here won't take you there.
That's just where they are. That's just where they are. I hope they get to because it's just like, all right, so you want to be upset your whole life? You get one life. I don't believe in reincarnation. You get one life. It's like you could be happy. You could make other people happy. You could help them out. You could do that. Or you could just go around, taking out your childhood on other people, which is what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah. So do you think about dying? Because you just said reincarnation.
Yeah, but not in a bad way. I don't believe in an angry God, and I don't believe that he's going to judge me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, you made me.
Yeah.
Did I fuck up? Well, that's your mistake.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, I always equate it. If I built a car and it doesn't start up, I mean, am I going to get mad at the engine?
Yeah, but if you tell them put this type of gas in it and somebody put something else in it and it fucks up, it's not the builder's fault.
What?
I don't know where the hell he was going with that, but like Bill was saying, you have to have a good attitude about this stuff. I'm bipolar. Please give me money. But no, I'm just, in all seriousness, not to be like inserting my own mental issues into this stuff like that, but I have trouble like regulating emotions and stuff like that. And you'll notice if you've been watching my videos for a while, sometimes my mood changes. Sometimes I talk about certain topics in a certain way, or the tone of my video shifts a little bit, but I try to be consistent. You have to forgive me, but having a good attitude about it, and it's hard to do these days. It's hard to do. It's hard to be like in a consistently good mood or feel hope for the future when everything feels so shitty right now. And there's so many people out there who are dedicated to making you miserable, like I said before. But it's your own thing. You got to be able to take, I know when we hear the words personal responsibility, we get upset, but at some level, you got to, especially as an adult, be able to like regulate yourself in a certain way and get away from toxic shit and toxic people and just discuss this kind of stuff in a healthy, productive way, or at least take on the world with a good attitude. And you don't want to be like, woe is me, everything's fucked, why bother? And I get into that mindset too. And I get in that mindset when I make some videos and stuff like that. But it's so important that you just find a way to move beyond that and find hope for the future. There are things that give me hope. And I think I'll start discussing that kind of stuff going forward, instead of just being like negative all the time. But Bill has a lot of good insights here. This is a really good episode. I'm always good to hear from Mr. Burr, one of my favorite comedians. You can kind of tell, I mean, some other guys like, you know, Carlin, he was one of these guys for a while. I mean, I don't know if I can compare Burr to Carlin. Carlin was like, but I see him on that path where he's just so sick of everybody's bullshit. And the age of Trump changed things. I mean, I wish Carlin was around when Trump got elected. I don't know what he would have said about it. I would love to hear his opinions on it. There's a lot of comedians I would love to hear from who passed away before Trump got into the Oval Office. But, you know, just going forward, you know, I really respect Bill, what he's doing, what he's saying. You know, I don't have an issue with anything he's saying. I'm not going to sit here and cry that he's woke now or whatever. He's just a regular, he has, you know, that's why comedy is so important. You know, that's why it's like, the correct like use of it, making people laugh and making people think. That's what guys like George Carlin did. That's what guys like Bill Burr can do. And I can name other guys, but most of them are perverts. But, but yeah, you gotta, comedy can be used for good. I try to be funny sometimes. It doesn't really work, but yeah, I think Bill made some really great points here. Very good interview from Charlemagne the God. But I'm gonna leave it there. Thank you all for watching. I really appreciate it. Did you have a favorite part of the video? You want to tell me how awesome I am? Leave a comment down below. If you want to support the channel, visit my Cash App links. And I'll talk to you guys later.
Ryan Little.